Blessings, blessings. Tell somebody to join the discussion. They can even come on and be our live guest tonight for as long as we're going to be here. Pray everyone has had a good day. How was your day, Elder? Pray it went well. All right, so tonight we are revisiting our time of frustration. Being frustrated while waiting. Waiting on what you say depends on you. Not everything is tied, not every expectation is tied to the church. Some of it is in our natural settings. And we've been waiting a long time, and we've been hearing people encourage us to even continue to wait. And you kind of want to tell them a few things because they don't seem to understand the intensity of your wait. The intensity of your wait, just, you know, being in the church all your life, uh, being told something is going to take place. Say you were 9 years old, and now here you are at 15, 16 years old. And you're like, but I thought. And when people start to tell you about this man called Jesus who would help you to get through all your situations, you wonder, well, if he know all of that, how come he ain't fixed me yet? How come he hasn't fixed my situation yet? Frustration is very annoying. It's a very annoying place. It's feeling or expressing distress and annoyance, especially because of inability to change or achieve something. I might write that one down. Oh, I hope you feel better. Frustration. Oh, just trying to type it out for you. Frustration. Feeling or expressing distress and annoyance, especially because of an inability to change or achieve something. And I'm sure if we had just a pew in front of us, everyone on that pew would be able to tell you a time in their life where frustration was the greatest aspect of their life because of what they were told and because of how they expected it to happen so soon. And why isn't it here yet? And wondering what it's going to look like when it arrives. And all of those things that you ultimately put yourself in a reign of anxiety, just trying to be patient enough to sit still, stand still, um, long enough for it to happen. How long is too long? I don't think there'll ever be an answer for that when it comes to someone really expecting that something that was told to them would happen is going to happen. And it could be for different reasons, because of the person who told you it was going to happen, because of how you feel or how you felt after you were told something was going to happen. It just is different for everybody. I don't think anybody, yes, you two people could be frustrated about totally different things. Emotions are a different place. Hey, Ro, are a different place, because you don't know how long I had to wait on this thing, and you don't understand why I'm here. Why is it that I'm here? What is connected to the trigger of frustration? What is it exactly? And how long is too long? Those are questions that are always asked. How long is too long to wait? Considering it says that it is an annoyance because you have the inability to change or achieve something. So that means that, because it says the inability to change or achieve, which means that then sometimes where it's just a matter of change to help you get through your time of frustration. And then there's that thing where, like, I've been trying to do this for 10 years. And every time I do it, it seems like I get further behind. So that's two different areas of frustration, and what you are able to tolerate at that time while you are frustrated. I can't speak for anybody else other than me. And if I'm frustrated, the last thing you want to do is talk to me. Not if you don't have a solution. Not if you don't have a solution. See, it's easy for someone who at this particular time in their life has everything going their way, and they're just happy go lucky, and everything is just kiki and haha. It's easy for you to say to a person who is not in that same state of mind, oh, just hang on in there. Well, how long did you have to hang on in there, or did you have to? um, is this even something you would want to do? How can you speak to what it is that I'm trying to achieve if you've never been there yourself? Frustration, frustrated, feeling or expressing distress, and annoyance, especially because of the inability to change or achieve something. In that statement alone, in that definition alone, it gives you both sides. Feeling or, which means that you could be expressing something or just feeling it at the time and choosing not to discuss it. So it's feeling or expressing distress and annoyance, not one or the two, but both of them, distress and annoyance, especially because of the inability to change, or there's that word again, or achieve. So either you're trying to change something or you're trying to achieve something. And watching certain others get it done so quickly, and yet you still feel like you're in the same place, can be rather unnerving, because you're like, well, I'm trying to do this the right way. I'm sitting still. I'm praying like I'm supposed to. I'm going to therapy. I'm doing everything that I've been told to do to get this thing that I've been looking for, and yet here I am still waiting. I've already watched somebody else and talked somebody else through getting their own, and still find myself in a place of frustration because I have not yet achieved what I was trying to do, and I have no way of doing anything about it. Tanasia says, right, because it be feeling like you be hanging by a thread when frustrated. Yeah, hanging by a thread. I just recently said to someone this week, grab hold to the horns of the altar. Sometimes that's all we have left, and we have to, where's our mindset at the time? For me to tell somebody to grab hold to the horns of the altar, where do you think their mindset was? And how is it that me just telling them that gave them a source of, okay, I could do this a little bit longer? Because it's not always that easy. You don't always get somebody that just does exactly what you tell them to do every time you tell them to do it. In a perfect world, that would be great. But it doesn't happen that way. And most of us I was trying to find out which body part frustration affects, because all of the emotions and all of the emotions that we have are attached to some organs in our body, and it can be it can have a negative impact because we allow it to take us rather than us taking it. Frustration and waiting when it comes to the definition from the King James Dictionary, it says to stay or rest in expectation, to stop or remain stationary till the arrival of some person or event. I don't know, guys. I don't know if anyone would be brave enough to say, I feel like I waited too long, or I'm starting to wonder if it's even worth the wait. What do you say to somebody when they say those words to you? I don't even know if it's worth the wait anymore. What kind of encouragement? What kind of what kind of anything? Because I know for me, there have been times where I was going through something, and I was getting frustrated and waiting for the resolve of it, and my bestie was trying her best to encourage me, scripturally, which is what we tend to do with, each other. I told her, I don't want to hear Jesus right now. I need another answer. I heard what Jesus had to say. I need another answer. And it's awesome to have somebody in your life that understands that you're not being sarcastic and things like that, but that you can be real about how you feel. And sometimes when you're going through, you ain't trying to hear church. I don't care who you are in God. There's been times in your life where that is the last aspect you wanted somebody to talk to you from. You wanted to know that somebody saw you as human, with real human feelings. And so, you wonder. Well, sometimes you have some choice words too. I've never stepped out of bounds with that, though, and I never will, because I value the prophet. But the fact that I could be real enough for her to say, not now, that ain't what I want to hear right now. I don't need Jesus right now, and she just kept on giving me Jesus. And I was like, maybe you hear what I said. I heard you. And she gave me something else, until she saw that it was pulling me in, and that ultimately you just have to, as they say in the Serenity Prayer, right? Accept the things I cannot change. It sounds so easy to be able to accept the things you can't change, but realistically, it's not true, because there's sometimes when you're at a point in your life where you just had enough and you need something to happen now. You need something to break now. You need something to come through right now. And you can't tolerate the nonsense, those that come around and they're jokingly trying, they call themselves helping by trying to jokingly say some things, but it just is not working for me, because I have gotten to the point of frustration. And when you're there, you don't hear well. You don't hear well when you are frustrated, because at that point is not something you want to hear. If it's not what you're looking to hear, you kind of like tone out anybody that's trying to help, which is unfair to them. But it's a real place. It's a real place. I think that the reason why we have such a hard time with it is because it took us so long to be transparent about it. Because for so long, we've been taught, my cat is making a whole mess, been taught and trained to push past. Push past. It's going to be all right. Let's just pray. Push past. Push past. God's got you. Push past. Now, and all that I said to you just now, what would help you from the natural aspect? Because all I'm saying right now is push past. It's going to be all right. Push past. God got you. Immediately, I bring God into it. But what if you're talking to somebody who has no clue about who God is, or who has been hurt so bad, whether it be through pastor, lay member, or whatever, and you just blaming God for it? It's just not what you're willing to listen to. You shut down. Your ear gates go closed. It's like wah, wah, wah. You don't hear nothing they're saying, because you've already toned them out, because they're coming from a direction in which you're trying to move away from. Why it is that most of us tend to run away from God when we should be running to him, it's just what's been happening over the years. And when it changes, we thank God for it. But right now, to be where we are, for me, it's been a very frustrating week, with appointments and having to listen to these doctors and sit there while they explain everything that's wrong, and looking at me and saying, but it doesn't look like what your test results are saying. It doesn't make you feel good to want to know when this is going to be over. What happens when you're carrying others' burden on yourself, and now you feel you need relief, and it seems like it's never coming? It's a real place, guys. It is a real place. Another definition given for frustrated is unable to follow or be successful in a particular career. Tanisha says, sometimes I try to relate from my experiences, but I also give them God. And what have you found that to be? Helpful or non? Like, what was the end result from you sharing your experiences and then having to lead them also through God? Frustration is if people would just tell the truth, is running rampant right now. There's people frustrated about all kinds of things, and they're coming to church. They're not. They come to church with unspoken expectations, and yes, we are the pastor. Yes, there may be a prophet in the house, but it doesn't mean that we just sitting around waiting for that to come through the door and we just going to minister to it. You have to be open. Your heartstrings have to be open for it to be picked up. But most of us come to church with unexpected, unspoken expectations, and our feelings are hurt by the time we leave, because something wasn't dealt with in the way you were hoping it would be. Like, they came close to what was going on with you, but it didn't really hit the nail on the head, the way you would have liked. And so I'll just take it back home with me, see what happens next time. And by doing that, you just like building and building and building. It's not, it doesn't even give room for the little part that you did receive in being in church, because you already now are starting to pile stuff back on it, because it didn't come in the way that you thought. It didn't look like what you thought it was going to look like. It didn't even sound Like you were just expecting, like you just knew that when you got there, it was going to be this sound, it was going to be this, and it just didn't happen. And so now not only are you frustrated, but you're disappointed. Tanasia says, I want to say both. Sometimes I hear people say I've helped them, but some they say they just don't want to hear it. You got hearted. Hear it. It wouldn't say that it is easy. I'm sure you're saying I wouldn't say that it was easy. And it's not. When you're at a point of frustration, like I said, I had that moment with my bestie. The last thing you want to hear is about Jesus. Like I know Jesus. Me and him communicate. We talk. And I know who you are to me, and I know that God speaks to you. But right now, I'm gonna need a little something different, and you got to have the right people in your life to be able to understand where you're coming from, because I think that probably if it wasn't my bestie, it probably would have been received a different way. But my bestie knows that I would never be disrespectful concerning the things of God. And so she just understands that it's that frustration that's got me talking like I don't know who I am, And so when we are frustrated, I had pulled it up. I wanted to know what part of the body. You think? Let me see if I can find it again. Frustration. Perfect. So Tanasia, I get what you're saying. And sometimes it's hard. Like even on here, every week we say we're not trying to shove Jesus down your throat. But y'all know we apostles over here, so it's only but so much we're gonna be able to say before we bring God back into the conversation. But we do want you to know that we know how to talk through natural and through spiritual, because we respond both ways. So frustration is also connected to anxiety and depression, but I want to know what body part can cause high blood pressure. I'm learning something with y'all. Says what happens to your body when you're frustrated? Your heart rate, your blood pressure and respiration increase, your body temperature rises, and the skin perspires. The mind is sharpened and focused. So you messing with your heart and your blood pressure, y'all. Especially, why give yourself blood pressure? Hey, Angelica, why give yourself high blood pressure? It's frustration and waiting. Most people know how old I am, and I've been waiting for some things for well over 10 years now. And what I go to God about is not, God, why have you failed me? That's how I started out praying. Why have you failed me? I thought you were God. I thought you were supposed to do this. I thought you were supposed to do that. But then when you grow and mature, the more you find that sometimes you're the cause of your own frustration, because you have not, applied things that have been told to you. You have not been in the right position to get what it is that you're asking for. And so, which kind of like for me makes me more frustrated, because you mean I could have got through this so many years ago if I would have just. Sometimes I have those moments when things happen and I'd be like, for real, that's all I had to do, and so we have to understand that we're entitled to our emotions. That's why God gave them to us. We can experience nothing that God has not allowed, because he foreknew us. He's the one who created us in his image, so he already knew. So if he placed them within us, he knew it was going to happen. So when I think of that, because of the fact that he foreknew us, I'd be like, well, so if you foreknew me and you knew I was going to be here right now, why are we still here? Like, Can we move on? You know, and it's a real place. Like, for you foreknew me and preordained me. So why am I still here? What am I missing? Because I do ask God that in the right way. You know, I'm not mad at God or anything, but I am frustrated at the situation. And I just want to know what it was in me he saw that made him think I could handle this long. Or why is it that he would allow me to pray with or for someone in the same situation, see them get their deliverance, and I'm still standing here waiting for mine. When we are frustrated, our tolerance level is very low. Very low. And most people do not take that into consideration. They just don't. At least when it's not them needing to be considerate of others. But when it's expected of them, they want to know why the inconsideration. Why is it that, people don't feel or don't act like or don't, allow. There's a lot that goes on with frustration. It really is. There's a whole lot that goes on with frustration and waiting, staying still and just waiting. Stand still and see. The salvation of God. Stand still. We've got to remain in position. Many of us bounce because we're not getting the answer here. We go bounce somewhere else. We don't get what we get over there. We go bounce somewhere else. Oh, well, they said half of what the other person said, but not all. So let me go bounce over. You don't sit still, stand still, pray still long enough to hear God speak to you concerning your situation. Does it mean that he's going to wipe your situation away? No, not always, because sometimes he's the one that put you in there. So he's building you through that situation. And until he feels that the results are at its agreed motion for him in the Godhead, you're going to be right there in it, boo. It's just the way it is. It is just, I'm just telling you. I told y'all I'm not staying on here long tonight. It's been a long week for me. A long, frustrating week, as I foresaid. A long, frustrating week for me between doctors and their reports and what they feel is next and how their portion is probably more important than the other person's portion. But both portions need to be done. And so we just going to take one step further here than the other person. But it gets frustrating to hear someone discuss you and you have no way to defend yourself or to remove yourself. Like sometimes when you have a conversation, you can just walk away. Not when it comes to your appointments, your doctors. They're there for a reason. You have to hear them. I used to tell people I go to the doctor because I'll let them tell me everything that they say is wrong. And then I go take it to my father. And when I take it to my father, when I'm in church on Sundays, people would never believe the trueness of what I deal with on a regular basis. What I have to sit and listen to over and over again, but in a different way, but the same thing. Frustration. Tanasia, you say you start to try to do things yourself and frustrate yourself more. You do. Because what's the sense of asking God if you're going to jump in and try to do the work?
Good question. Ask her again.
Ask her again? What sense does it make for you to pray and ask God to do something if you're going to jump in there and try to help him figure it out? I probably said it differently, but that's what I meant. They mean the same thing. You go, you pray, you ask God, but then you jump in there and try to help him help you. It defeats going to him. The Bible says we must go to him in prayer and faith, believing. So if you don't believe it's going to be done, why are you praying to this God of yours? You should marinate on that, because then we want to determine what our answer is going to be. Well, if you knew what the answer was going to be, why'd you go? We go because we don't have the answer and we don't understand, but we want clarity and we want help. And so that is why you got to believe in who you're praying to and what you're praying about. You got to see yourself as being victorious. We've been talking about this with the 7 steps to an answered prayer. It doesn't make sense to ask and you ain't going to believe that it can be done. And then some of us go, oh, well, they told me to pray. All right, so I'm going to pray. And then you come back to church. I prayed and ain't nothing happened. Really? Did you pray or did you go in there and spat out some words and then come out? Did you lay long enough for the Lord to speak to you? Did you give him more than 5 minutes to answer you? Or did he answer you and you didn't like what he said? So frustration happens on so many different levels, and we all are affected by it in one way or another. I don't care how long you've been saved. None of that matters. Frustration hits everybody. Everybody. How you deal with it is different, but it hits everybody. All right, guys. Love you so much. Thank you for your time. For those of you who've been jumping on and off, thank you. At least you're listening. It lets us know that you want to hear what we have to say. We appreciate you so much. Bethany, you need to say something. We appreciate you so much. We will meet you here next week. I don't know what the subject's going to be, but we will meet you here next week. So I just thought that since I was frustrated, there might be some others out there that are frustrated as well. So for those of you that joined in, I see that you agree. And we say thank you and have a great remaining week. Take care of yourself, pray for others, and God will do wondrous things for you. We love you. See ya.